When you think of the word science, what comes to mind? Is it a giant, heavy textbook filled with facts and figures you have to memorize for a test? Well, I've got some good news. What if I told you that's not really science at all? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and see what science is really all about. It's so much more exciting than you might think.
So, welcome to our journey into the investigative world of science. We're going to leave the textbook on the shelf for a little while. Instead, we're going to explore how science is an active, hands-on adventure. It's a world where we don't just learn the facts, we actually learn how to find them for ourselves.
Yes, you heard me right, an adventure. Real science doesn't start in a lab. It starts with a feeling of wonder. It begins with those simple little questions we've all asked. Why is the sky blue? Or how do birds fly? Every great scientific journey starts with a simple why or how. And the best part is, every answer just leads to more exciting questions.
Now, this shows a really important shift in how we think about learning. It's the difference between being a passive student and an active explorer. So we move away from just learning facts that someone else discovered to actively finding them ourselves. We go from just wondering about the world in a general way to asking super focused questions that we can actually test. And that's the game changer, designing our own experiments to see what happens.
And you know what the best part is? This skill, the skill of investigation, isn't something you're born with. It's something anyone can learn. It's a step-by-step process that helps us turn our natural curiosity into real, solid understanding. So let's break down how it's done.
It really all comes down to these 4 simple but powerful steps. First, you start with a very specific, very focused question. Not just, why do plants grow? But something like, does this plant grow taller in the sunlight or in the shade? See the difference? Then, you design a simple experiment to find the answer. Step 3 is absolutely crucial. You have to observe everything, very carefully. And finally, you take everything you saw, all your observations, and you use them to explain what you've discovered.
And when you start doing this, something amazing happens. It's like a transformation. When you follow these steps, you're not just a learner anymore, passively taking in information. Nope, you actually become an investigator. You become a young scientist, solving real-world puzzles, whether it's in your classroom, your backyard, or even your kitchen. Now, to help us on this adventure, I want to share a beautiful little metaphor that really captures the whole spirit of science. Think of it this way. To be a great investigator, you need both roots and kites. Now, what on earth could that mean? Let's take a look. Okay, first up, the roots. The roots of a tree go deep into the ground, right? They're solid, they're firm. In science, our roots are our observations. They represent the need to be grounded in reality and solid evidence. It's all about what you can actually see, touch, and measure. This is our foundation. But just having roots, just having facts isn't enough. That's where the kite comes in. The kite represents our imagination, our creativity, our big ideas. Once we have our solid observations from the roots, we have to let our ideas soar high like a kite to see the bigger picture, to ask what if, and to connect the dots in new and exciting ways. And that brings us to the most important word of all, balance. You can't have one without the other. Science is at its absolute best when we perfectly balance the deep roots of careful observation with the high-flying freedom of creative thinking. A kite with no string flies away, and a string with no kite just lies on the ground. You need both to truly discover something new. Okay, so that's the big idea, the philosophy. But how does this all work in the real world? Let's bring it down to earth with a fun, tasty example. Because you really don't need a fancy laboratory to be a scientist. In fact, your own kitchen is one of the best labs you can find. Okay, picture this. You're in the kitchen, and someone is making fresh, hot puris. You watch as they drop the flat dough into the hot oil, and poof, it blows up like a little balloon. Have you ever stopped to wonder, why? Why does it do that? Well, a scientist would. And that simple, everyday question is the perfect starting point for a real investigation. So, to investigate this, we start thinking like a scientist. We think about the variables, all the different things we could change to see what effect they have. So you might ask, what happens if I use a different kind of flour, like maida instead of atta? Or what if I roll the dough really thin or really thick? Does the temperature of the oil make a difference? Each one of these questions is a potential experiment waiting to happen. But now, here comes the golden rule. This is maybe the most important rule in all of science. If you really want to know what's causing a change, you can only change one thing at a time. So, if you're testing the thickness of the dough, you have to keep the flour, the oil temperature, everything else exactly the same. That's the only way to know for sure what's causing the results you see.
And now for a little secret that I think is just amazing. Even for something as common as a prudy puffing up, scientists still don't completely understand every little detail of why it happens. Isn't that incredible? It just goes to show you that science is this ongoing process of discovery, and there are fascinating mysteries hiding all around us, even in our own kitchens.
So you see, the world is absolutely full of these amazing puzzles just waiting for a curious mind to come along and start asking questions. From the food we eat to the stars in the sky. And now, really, it's your turn to start exploring.
Once you have this investigative mindset, once you let your curiosity be your compass, there is truly no limit to what you can explore and understand about this incredible world we live in.
You could use this mindset to investigate the giant, powerful forces that create our weather, from a gentle breeze to a massive storm.
Or you could zoom way, way in to the microscopic world inside our own bodies to understand the amazing science that keeps us strong and healthy.
You could go outside and explore the beautiful, complicated web of life that connects every plant and animal in the ecosystems all around us. Or you can just look up at night and start to understand the majestic, predictable cycles of the moon and the stars that have guided people for thousands of years.
So we're going to end by passing this idea over to you. Science isn't something that's just trapped in a book. It's a way of looking at the world with wonder and asking questions. And it always starts with just one question. So I'll ask you, what question makes you curious? Go find out. Happy investigating.